Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining me on this beautiful day and welcome to our webinar. Now if you're watching this live, I have my teammate Teresa Seda in the comments section, so at any point feel free to reach out and ask her any questions. She'll answer you immediately, or you can wait till the end while I will take all questions. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube post-recording, drop any questions you have in the comments and I will get to them as soon as I can. So anyway, today we're going to be discussing the ultimate workplace wellness strategies and how corporate wellness and coaching and training amongst your staff can lead to amazing ROI results, such as increased productivity, lowered absentee rates, and much, much more. So I'm so excited to have you here, and with that, let's dive in. Okay, so today we're discussing the ultimate workplace strategies. It's how to grow your employee team bond, collaboration, strength as a unit through health and wellness. It's going to advance your employee output. So here's our plan for this session. We're going to discuss current wellness trends amongst corporate wellness programs. Then we're going to show how these wellness programming can maximize your ROI to get the most out of everything that we provide. Then we'll map out a plan for accomplishing the following, including high participation rates amongst the staff, which is crucial in having the wellness programs perform and give you a good ROI. Also increasing employee retention. Retention's been a common issue in the work world, and wellness is a way to combat that. How we can lower your absenteeism and sick days to boost your productivity and create a strong team culture. Now the goal for the end of this session is that at the end of this webinar, we can set you up to have massive success in 2024 and beyond. So these program implementations can be used over and over again to create that strong team bond and continue to grow and achieve. At any point as well in the comments, I'll have a link in there. You can book a meeting with us at any time if you want to discuss your personal goals for your health and wellness and your company's. And also in the YouTube link post-recording, it'll also be in the description. So let's dive in. So the first thing I want to talk about is that wellness programs are mutually beneficial. They have benefits for both the business and the employee. And some of them, they even share common benefits, which we'll get to. But let's go down the list. So for the business benefits first, we have lowered productivity costs. People are more focused in the moment and achieving more. Lowered absentee rates, sick days and beyond, higher employee retention rates, lower EMR rates, which is the rate you lock your insurance in. It stands for experience modification rate. And you can lock in lower insurance rates for 3 years when you promote good health. We have higher employee engagement in the workplace, achieving their goals. We have a strong company culture, supportive culture where everyone is looking out for each other and thriving. We have increased team morale, saving money through all of this. And then on the employee side, we have the feeling of being supported, that their goals and personal results matter. We have customized goal solutions, lowering stress levels, which is a huge part of wellness that is severely overlooked. We'll get into that more in a minute. We have improved mental health, improved focus, reduced physical pain, especially from sedentary jobs and working, meeting those deadlines. Things like back pain, hip pain, muscle imbalances, we fix all that. Nutrition guidance, increased health knowledge, learning more, feeling confident to go out, set, and achieve what you wish. Now at the bottom here in yellow, we have some mutual benefits. We have lowered stress levels on both sides. The business is thriving, they're not worried about meeting deadlines or under productivity. And on the employee side, they're feeling confident and poised and ready to take on the day. We have improved trust amongst both sides, improved trust the employee will get their work done, and improved trust in the employee knowing that the business is looking out for their best interests. And we have improved communication, and that goes with that strong team culture. So I have a question for you guys. What is the hardest part about generating employee participation in these wellness programs? Participation is a huge portion that we're going to dive into, because in order to have a return on your investment, you really need the team using the programming. And it is a common challenge. So we're going to get into that in a second, but first, let's look at some other stuff that are related. So, first, what are wellness programs? Well, the most common one given is general wellness. Now, what this normally means is just an employer is providing gym access or some sort of health club access. Well, this is great, but it's not always the best thing because it's going to create a low usage rate or participation rate. Just because someone has access doesn't mean they have the tools to go out and achieve their goals. Gyms can be an intimidating place. There's big crowds, there's lots of equipment you may or may not know how to use, and once you master the confidence to go in there and the awareness of how to use the equipment, there's still the matter of program design. It's the tempo you work at, the amount of reps you're doing, the order which you do things, where your heart rate is at. There's so much fine detail in it, so it can be really, really hard to go out and create your own program. And that's something that we really strive to do, is personal coach everybody, because no fitness journey is alike. Everyone is on their own unique health and wellness path, and we understand that. We really want to help out the best we can to have customized solutions for your goals. The second most common thing provided by companies is on-site flu vaccines. It's also 52%. We have tobacco cessation, which is a big deal, at 34%. Common health risk assessments, just standard kind of practices where someone comes into the office. We have rewards for completing programs. For example, a lot of companies do things like weight loss challenges. They try to have people participate in that and provide rewards or prizes at the end. And right below that, weight loss training at 25%. I'm going to stop right there for the graph for a minute. If we go over to the right here and look at some of the Forbes market data from an early report this year, 61.2% of companies offer wellness programs. It's a pretty good percent. Wellness programs provide an average 9.5% cut on health costs. These are things like your absentee rates and other issues. 89% of workers with wellness programs will recommend their employer, which is huge. That goes into that team culture and establishing like that trust and belief in each other. And let's pause right there for a sec. You'll see why right here. So now highlighted is the bottom part of the graph and the bottom few stats. So we talked about weight loss a little bit. Stress management. Only 25% of all wellness programs that companies are paying for provide stress management techniques. Now this is a big deal, especially in the software and tech industry, because you're trying to meet deadlines. You have detailed projects. You have to communicate and always stay on the same page. That can cause a lot of stress and anxiety, and it's important that this issue is handled. But with the generalized programs, there is no adaptation or training for this. This is something that we're huge on. We provide a ton of mindfulness content, a ton of self-growth work, and we have demonstrations of all of that if you're interested. We have preventative care, things such as preventing back pain from happening, preventing knee pain, preventing muscle imbalances and hip disalignment. This is also something that we do. It's something that I personally love to teach people, is that preventative self-care, so you can do the things that you love mobily for as long as possible. And that contributes to that work-life balance, right? Being able to go out and do the things you love on your free time without any pain or limitations. We have personal coaching and life coaching, right? Both for fitness and for things like stress, anxiety, confidence. Only 21% of all wellness programs provide this. This is another thing that we love to do. We strive to make a personal connection with each individual and really make sure everything we do is benefiting them. We have health insurance premiums being discounted. That goes back to that EMR rate. We really focus on this because you can lock in those rates for 3 years at a time. So if you can come back to the insurance with a strong report, you're going to have lower rates and save a lot of money. And lastly, we have meditations. It's only 18% of all programs provide this. This is something that we provide, and oftentimes it's misconstructed. It's looked at as Buddhism or some sort of religious practice, but really it's not. It's just mindfulness. It's being aware of your thoughts and your subconscious thoughts, being aware of your behaviors, breathing techniques, and other ways to lower your stress, anxiety, and depression. It has nothing to do with religion. I think that's why a lot of wellness programs stray away from meditation, but I think it's truly important, and we provide these and make them customized for each person so they can work on the things they need to personally grow and achieve. So wellness programs reduce absentee days by about 14.3%. Only 37% of employees use their wellness programs. So that goes into that participation rate that we're talking about, which is really low. At Elevate, we average about 65% usage rate. You're never going to get 100% of the staff to use it, but if you can get that number higher and higher, then you're going to receive a bigger ROI and see a bigger impact and difference on your company and your culture. So we average about 65, which is almost double of what current wellness usage is. I'm really proud of that. Now, 52% of their employees, according to this Forbes survey, want their employer to help with their mental health. But as you can see in the chart, the general wellness is the most used thing. That is not going to contribute really to the mental health, confidence, anxiety, depression relief that they are requesting. So this is another reason why we focus on this. We're trying to do what is most desired by employees that is least provided by other wellness companies. And by doing this, that's how we spike that participation rate. Here's a little chart here about the top 4 workplace symptoms as reported by employees and the top 4 work-related issues reported by employees. This is a 2023 report from Workplace Options. So workplace stress is the number one thing on the related symptoms. 74% of everyone in the survey said they have workplace stress, which again, according to the last chart, is not often managed. We have anxiety and panic at 27%, having a low mood, low energy coming into the office or doing remote work, and difficulty concentrating, which is going to put you behind on your productivity, meeting those deadlines, which is costing the company money. So we aim to improve all these things. It boosts their morale and as well as your revenue. Now, on the related issues, daily work activities are a stressor. The work-life balance, we just did a podcast on this. It's a major thing. It's a hard thing to manage, so it's really important. Performance on the job and tension or conflict with their manager or anyone else in the building. And that goes hand in hand with that team culture, how establishing that can boost that morale. So let's dive in real quick to some additional healthcare costs per condition per year. These are the most common conditions. So stress alone in the workplace is costing about $2,056 on average per employee, right? You lower that stress level, you're going to save money. We have inactivity at $1,313. That sedentary lifestyle is causing things like back pain and discomfort, which can lead to a focus or distraction in the workplace. High blood pressure is the lowest, about 733, but this can lead to things like vertigo or discomfort. Obesity, going more in line with healthcare costs and insurance issues, at almost $2,100. And diabetes, mostly type 2 diabetes, which is preventable and reversed, at $2,151. Now keep in mind that many employees suffer more than one of these things, and these are just 5, right? There's more issues than this. These are just the most common. But if someone's suffering from multiple of these, it can end up costing an extra $4,000 to $5,000 a year. So this is something that we really aim to bring down with our program design. So what did you notice? Think about it. What wellness issues do you currently notice within your company, and what have you tried to implement to address them? Go ahead and share in the comments. So now we can finally dive into participation rates as we look at some amazing Elevate clients on the screen. So what are the issues with low participation rates? Well, there's little to no change. If you are implementing a program and no one's really using it, you're not going to notice an impact on the company. Nobody is benefiting from this when it's not being used. Kind of like seeing no change. There's no benefit on either side. The same issues are still persisting. And then you're stuck in your current experience modification rate, which we want to lower so you can lock in better rates. Now, the common reasons for low participation are poor communication. Many employees don't even know that they're being provided gym access or provided a program. It might just kind of glance over the email. So this is something that the communication, we can change that. It's going to up the participation rate. Inadequate incentives and lack of relevance kind of go hand in hand, meaning everyone has different goals and is on a different journey, like we discussed. So having that customized solution for each person is going to bump that participation rate up. Accessibility barriers. Let's say you're providing gym access, but they have a packed day and can't get to the gym. This is something that we combat with mobile apps and pre-recorded content that they can use anytime, anywhere. Time constraints goes into that accessibility barrier issue. We have cultural factors and fear of stigma. Like we talked about in generalized fitness access, like going to the gym can be intimidating and people are worried about being watched or judged. This is something we can also avoid through our app, like doing things at home or in a place of leisure where you feel the most comfortable. Skepticism about effectiveness, privacy concerns, and lack of feedback mechanisms. We have these covered too. Skepticism is it goes with any fitness program, but we preach about how you feel. So it's not as aesthetic or how you look, it's pay attention to how you're feeling. How's your confidence? How's your energy levels? And it's easier to see results this way starting out. That helps people progress and continue with their program. Privacy concerns, we are 100% private. Let me put it this way, our goal is to build a strong bond and have people really feel cared about. So to do this and achieve this, we keep everything that is spoken in between. Like we report back to you any issues or things you may not be aware of that are impacting your team, but we never say who said what. And by doing this, we can continue to gather information and build that trust. Lack of feedback mechanisms, this is definitely not us. Our app and technology can connect to any smartwatch, also the app MyFitnessPal for nutrition tracking. This way we can see everything down to your heart rate, to the steps per day. It can really give you feedback and see in fine detail what needs to be improved. We can take it in as high as detail as a person is willing to go. So we kind of went over this, we'll just touch on it again. So for every problem with wellness participation, on the right here, we have how we handle it. We are constantly we are constantly accessible. We have many ways to outreach and contact. There's a messaging platform in our app. We have Discord threads for team bonding where you can also message me and other coaches. And through email, through LinkedIn, any way that is best for you, we're constantly checking. Personalized incentives, like we talked about unique fitness journeys, we're providing personalized programs and goals. We have multiple mediums. We have our app. We have a Vimeo platform with videos. We have YouTube. We have communication. We have workouts that can be built, customized by the minute if requested. Flexibility, can do our programs anywhere, anytime. Take them on vacation with you even. Whenever you're in a pinch or need something for your confidence or stress relief, we have it covered on the spot. Personal access and a customized personal approach for every person, being paired with a coach that's the best fit for them, that's going to get the most out of them. We have leadership, we protect all data, and we have access to all feedback. So we can meet with everyone, share that feedback, and really go after those goals. All right, so now let's dive into some employee absenteeism and issues with this. So absenteeism in the workplace has increased in the past 5 years, post-COVID and slightly before even. 1 in 10 employees are absent on days they're scheduled to come into work. While planned PTO is standard, when employees don't show up, supervisors have to scramble to fill shifts and coworkers have to cover for their team members. This can cause productivity to tank. If you think about that, that's crazy. Of everyone working right now, everyone working today, 1 out of every 10 is missing work. It's just a mind-blowing stat and what could be accomplished more so if they were there, right? It's kind of crazy. So here's a question for you. How much money does absenteeism cost companies annually? And how much does it cost per employee? Go ahead and drop it in the comments right now. Let's see what you think. All right, you ready? Boom. The answers are $225.8 billion a year countrywide. It's just insane for absentee rates. And this breaks down to almost $2,000 per employee at $1,685. So if you think about this, if you have 20 employees, then there is a $33,700 loss on absentee rates alone. That's a huge chunk, man. If you can just cut that number in half, you're already saving a little over $15,000 right there. Here's some more fun facts for you guys. Almost 50% of overtime is used to cover employee absences. Just because an employee can't make it to work does not mean the work stops. So it is no surprise that 47% of overtime is used to cover shifts when team members are out. That's crazy, right? Like, you're taking up overtime, but then you're not using those days, or your PTO days, on days where you could be resting or recovering or doing something for yourself. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. You have someone who's out and someone who is getting paid more using their overtime, but then they're missing their own personal time and are working a little bit harder, which is causing more stress. So if you can bring down that absentee number, more people are getting more time to themselves and just feeling better all around about it. The estimated loss of productivity due to unplanned absence reaches almost 40%. Productivity loss varies by the type of employee absence, with the average productivity loss associated with an unplanned absence being the highest at 36.6%, while the average productivity loss related to planned absences comes in at 22.6%. Almost 40% of absences are caused by repeated personal reasons. So you can't control what happens to your employees' personal lives, but you can create strategies to support them so they can manage any personal issues they're experiencing. And this is really important. This goes with that team bonding and that team culture. People want to feel supported. They want that sense of family, even if it's a work family. In wellness programming, all right. So now let's dive into the most important absentee stats for the tech industry. So stress is a huge cause. It can cause up to 1 million employees to miss work countrywide every single day, which is insane. Stress alone can cost businesses up to $300 billion a year. Stress causes almost 1 million workers to miss work daily. This stress may come from external factors or from within the workplace itself, with 83% of U.S. workers suffering from work-related stress. This is a huge number. That's basically a B, right? Like, it's just insane that we all have this similar thing in common, where we're all going through stress, and just how how neglected like stress programming is. It's really crazy that we're all going through it, but it's so untouched by wellness programs, and this is something that we really desire to change. In addition to stress, depression can also have a huge impact on absenteeism in the workplace. It is estimated that depression causes 200 million lost workdays each year at the cost of 17 to 44 billion to employers. This goes into that productivity piece with the absenteeism and everyone else having to step up for the missing person. Just lowering that absentee rate through stress alone is going to save a ton of money. Let's briefly touch on wellness for the manufacturing industry. So 41% of manufacturing employers say that mental health challenges have negatively impacted employer retention efforts. 58% of manufacturing employees stated that work stress often impacted their personal relationships. 54% of manufacturing workers know a coworker impacted by a substance or disorder or addiction. Wellness has a massive impact on resolving these issues. 42% report improvement on depression symptoms. $6,000 reported savings per employee per year. 50% increase in employer retention. And a 28% reduction in absenteeism. This is a case study by Spring Health. So you can see just implementation of wellness programs and having those high participation rates has a strong effect on everything around the company. So absenteeism is just one contributor to lost revenue. Let's dive into the issue of employee retention, which is a huge issue right now. It has gotten a little better this year, but it is very up and down. And you'll see why in a second, how crucial it is to saving money. So let's talk about the cost to replace an employee. It averages out to be a third of that person's annual salary. Get some water real quick. Sorry about that, guys. This is a report from the Madison Approach Staffing Company. So let's say someone's making $50,000 a year. It's going to cost about $16,000 to replace them. That's the hiring process, the training process, the recruitment process. It's everything added up. It can be an expensive process if retention rates are not high. Constantly having to fill new team members, it's expensive. Another example, $75,000 salary will cost about $25,000 to replace them, and $100K all the way up to $33K. It's massive. We want to keep people on the team. So when it comes to turnover, it can be split into hard costs and soft costs. Hard costs are more obvious and they're felt instantly, where soft costs have a heavy impact down the road, but they might not be felt immediately. So some examples of hard costs, right? We have their benefits, we have the cost of hiring, of offboarding that person, onboarding someone new, the hiring process, and training and interviews. So all that is adding up. None of that is free, right? For the soft costs, these are important and not often thought about, is the added employee stress. If someone's stepping off of the team momentarily, and while you're waiting for the new onboard, everyone else has to pick up their workload. The work continues, so that adds stress to everyone else's plate. You can have a lower morale. They might have a strong bond with that person or be friends with them, and now they're gone and they have to work through that. It might be a part of their day they were looking forward to, spending time with that person, and they might be cohesive and work hard together, and now that's gone. That can be tough. You have a weakened employer brand, potentially not, but you don't know what terms they left on or what they might say, and you don't want anything to tarnish your reputation. Decreased work quality as everyone else is stepping up to make way for what that person who left was accomplishing and performing for. They have to pick up their workload and they might not be trained in it. Quality might suffer. There's a lot that can be talked about here. And lastly, and it's highlighted in bold because I think it's really important, is lost knowledge. You don't know what that person's taking with them, what they might have been working on, or the information they had around that. And now that's just gone. It can lead to situations where you have to fully start over or dig for answers, and that can be time-consuming, stressful, and difficult. So retention is key. Keeping that retention creates that strong, cohesive unit. It's really something that we aim to help out with. Here we have a graph on the cost impact of employee turnover. So productivity loss, a huge topic in this webinar, is the main one. It's 52%. Productivity around the whole team kind of shrinks up, right? Making up for what they were working on. And stress and anxiety and many other factors lead to that decrease in productivity, which can lead to missing deadlines or the inability to take on new projects because you're falling behind. So productivity, common theme here, it's key. We have a pre-departure, we have the recruitment of a new employee at 20%, the selection process of everyone that applied, and then the onboarding, orientation, and training them to do their job productively and effectively. So for pre-departure, the offboarding process typically costs around $750. Lost productivity, the biggest one, averaging about $13,000 on lost productivity while that person is offboarding. Usually about $5,000 spent on recruitment through those third-party sites like Indeed or LinkedIn or I don't know. But you know what I mean. All the recruiting process is not free. Another almost $3,000 on the selection process, the interviewing process, the second and third interviews. Those aren't free, right? You have to spend time, and you really want to do your diligence to make sure you're making the right decision. And this takes time and effort. And then lastly, the orientation and training process is about $3,500. Because now not only do you have the person hired, you have to onboard them. They're getting paid through this process, but they still aren't fully trained and able to do their duties. So this is, something you could completely avoid with the retention if the previous employer was still there, performing at a high level, fully trained, and ready to rock. So this is a big one right here. So most employees provide little to no feedback to their issues and how they can improve and prevent their issues. This is one way that we're a huge asset, is because we're really able to go in as coaches and make strong bonds with people to where they trust us and they're really willing to open up to us and tell them about what's going on in their life and the things they want to work on. The way I like to put this is, think about when you're a teenager, right? Yeah, you'll share some emotions with your parents, but you're not going to be fully open with them with everything you're feeling. At least most of us, right? And this is kind of how it is in the workplace. You might go to your HR department or open up to a coworker or manager, but it's rarely going to be 100% valid to how you are truly feeling. How many times have you been feeling really stressed and someone asks if you're okay, but just to not bother them or just for the unwillingness or fear to share your emotions, just say, I'm okay. I know I'm guilty of this several times, so I think we've all kind of been there. But this is how we're a huge asset, is we can gather this information and then report it back to you. There may be problem areas and pain points within your team that you're not aware of simply because it hasn't been discussed. We're able to find this out for you and bring you back that information so we can implement changes and provide a thriving team culture and boost those productivity rates, among other things. Going into workplace culture, 20% of employees agree that their employer has a good workplace culture, which is really, really low, right? We need to see this number climb. Things may be tougher than you realize. And in terms of these surveys, this survey is from Zipdo. It had about 3,000 people interviewed. 20% is really low in that. 88% of employees, on the other hand, agree that a strong workplace culture is essential to personal growth and business success. So you have two things at the other end of the spectrum, right? Only 20% think their culture is good, but almost 90% agree that it's really important for the business and for themselves. So we need to combine these two aspects and really make it strong. So what are the greatest benefits of improving workplace culture? As we've talked about so much, it's increased productivity, improved retention at 40%, improved employee engagement at 38%, increased feelings of inclusion, belonging, and physiological safety at 34%, increased revenue in the company, improved communication and collaboration as a team at 26%, improved employee accountability, this is all around on the team, improved situational awareness, knowing what to do and when and how, and decreased negative conflicts. And this isn't just conflicts between employees or employees and managers, it's internal conflict too. Things like your stress and depression. Releasing all of this can just lead to massive gains and great results. So improving work culture directly relates to the benefits in all of these things and everything discussed in this presentation And we can achieve this through health and wellness, specific to each person, individualized, personalized. This is really what we want to accomplish. We don't want to be generalized. We want those sky-high participation rates, having everyone feel valued, and having their personal, professional growth. The cool thing is that we handle everything for you. Any wellness need that you and your team have, we have it covered. So there's no need to ever stress or worry about it. The onboarding process is also really, really simple. All that's needed to work on your end to work with us is just blast out an email to your team, letting them know it's coming. And then after that, we handle everything for you. We provide you the onboarding content to send out. Then after that, you don't have to worry about a thing. We take care of it from there. So what we do is we address each individual's pain points and create custom solutions for them to thrive so they can perform at a high level, both at work, but also in their personal life and achieve the things that they set out to do. Thank you so much for joining me today on this beautiful day. I hope that was helpful. The floor is now yours. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in now, and I will answer them as they come. How do you determine if we are a good fit? So we do something called the Wellness Snapshot Assessment. So this is where we meet with each person with individual meetings. We find out their pain points, and we get them started with content so they can get started on their goals right away. This does not include our app or personal coaching yet. It's more for us to find out potential pain points, issues, or goals amongst the team that you may not be aware of. It's a 2-week process, and at the end, we report back in detail all of our findings to you. And with this information, you can do what you wish with it. You can handle it in-house, or you can continue working with us, providing your team with personal coaching. It's really up to you, but our main thing is we really just want to help people. We want to help people thrive. I am very passionate about being a coach, and that's why I'm here. I've, had my own work experience with these stress issues, and finally found a way to kind of have my own personal growth and bounce out of that. I just want to help provide that information to other people. I hope that answers your question. How much does your wellness programming cost? It really depends. We typically work with companies that contain about 40 to 60 employees. That's what we can handle right now. Any more than that, our quality of work starts to fall. We definitely don't want that. I want to give you everything that we have. So it's kind of on a case-by-case basis based on employees. But that's something we get into later. I wouldn't worry about that yet. Make sure you book a call with me and reach out so we can discuss your specific needs and go from there. Do you have different types of coaches on your team? Yeah, we do. The reason why is people relate to other coaches differently. So, for example, I'm a coach. I specialize in performance training, injury prevention, mobility, flexibility, confidence boosting, stress management. These are the things I'm passionate about. I'm not the best nutritionist or weight loss coach though, but I have someone on my team who is. Or for women, sometimes they don't feel comfortable working with a man, so it's important to have a woman on staff they can relate to. These are just a few examples, but we have 7 different coaches on our team, and looking to grow that honestly, but we have someone that can relate best to anyone, which is going to boost that productivity rate when they feel comfortable and like they're really connected with someone. Alright guys, well thank you so much for joining me today. That was a lot of fun. I hope you found value in it. Remember to book a call with me, the link's below. If you're on YouTube, the link is in the description. I appreciate your time so much. I'm wishing you all a great and productive day, and I hope to talk to you soon. Take care.